Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome back once again to Phatkat Collections. Today, guys, excited to share with you guys another awesome watch. Now, this is by a company which I kind of consider a little bit controversial. It's one of the those companies out there that are more of like, I don't want to use the word Kickstarter, but a lot of them are crowdfunded, and a lot of them are, and not saying Vincero is, I don't really know their history all that much, but they're a company who, you know, you see a lot marketed on social media. Instagram's a huge one, Facebook, places like that. And, you know, unfortunately, in the watch community, there are a lot of haters. There's a lot of haters, and there's a lot of people who really try to keep certain brands on top of the hill. You know what I mean? They just don't want other brands creeping up underneath them. And when I talk about those brands, it's not the brand's fault. It's the people who wear those brands. Now, this video isn't about bashing on anybody, of course. It's not about, you know, watch snobbery. But unfortunately, the watch snobbery causes a lot of problems for brands like this. And you've seen brands like this before. This brand is called Vincero. Other brands such as, like Vincero, you have Movement watches, you have Filippo Loretti. Brands like that kind of sometimes get kind of a bad name. And unfortunately, YouTube is a pretty powerful platform, and you get a lot of information on YouTube from a lot of different people with different opinions. Remember, none of us, well, I shouldn't say none of us, but a lot of us aren't experts. We're mainly just giving you guys our 2 cents, our opinion on these different products. And I can tell you that I'm a good guy for a company like this to send the product to, which they did. They sent me to, because I have a really broad spectrum of watches in my collection. I have a lot of price points. And over the years, being a collector and being somebody that really enjoys wearing a different watch and adding one to the collection, I'm always interested in what people are wearing. Not to say that I want to change people's opinions about whether they, you know, are wearing a watch that I personally wouldn't wear. Ultimately, at the end of the day, there's not a watch I wouldn't wear. It really comes down to what kind of watch will I buy? How much do I want to spend on a watch? And that's a big concern when making a purchase on a watch or anything. The argument is that you have to spend, and this is what you'll see. I'm not going to mention any YouTubers, but you'll see this time and time again with YouTubers who have a good following cutting a brand down. Invicta gets a huge cut down, right, from a lot of the snobs out there. And really, a lot of these people who make videos like this really are just making this video because they have a vested interest. Some own stores that sell high-end luxury pieces and different brands. What I've always found is when I watch other YouTubers is what do they wear and what kind of tiers are they reviewing and what do they say about them. And I've caught many YouTubers reviewing brands and telling you how a Rolex is light years ahead of other brands, and this other brand they don't like is garbage. It's a shitter. We hear that word a lot. And then they'll review a brand that they happen to like that's affordable, and they're giving it a great review. And I know firsthand that I'll own that. I have that brand, and I know that the quality difference, it's not what they're saying. So one thing I always want you guys to remember when I review a watch, and one thing to always think about, if you're a newbie to the watch community, or a newbie to, or just a guy maybe looking to add a watch to his collection, add another watch, add your first watch. Ultimately, buy what makes you happy, buy what speaks to you, what really, you know, somehow conveys some sort of passion in you, right? If I'm wording that right. I have watches that are huge, that are man, I get so excited to get them, and watches that are small, and I have the same feeling. I know that these watches are going to get different reactions by different people, and there's the times I'm going to wear these watches. It doesn't have to always be a big watch, it doesn't always have to be a small watch. But one thing I can tell you about the quality of different brands is that there's not a lot of difference. When you start spending $10,000 on a watch, your expectations up here. And I have to tell you that the number of times that all the times that I've handled a watch that's $10,000 plus, I'm never impressed. I'm never blown away. I'm always left saying, is that it? That's it? You know, I'd rather have bought a car and another car and an affordable watch, right? Did see an awesome Jag. Might have to get another Jag, guys. All right, so let's talk about Vincero. So there's a section on every website, most companies, right? A section about them, right? So I'm just going to go directly, if I can get rid of their 15% off pop-up. Come on, guys. Their About section. And in their About section, let's see here. They list brand ambassadors They list our impact and things that, climate neutral, ambassadors reviews, lots of information you guys can read about. Ultimately, at the end of the day, all that's great for a company, makes them, whatever makes them feel good. But for me, it's about what kind of product are you giving and what does it cost? What am I getting for my money? And that's the most important factor, I think, when buying anything. So, right off the bat here, just, it's the first time I've been here, so I'm doing this with you guys if you haven't been to their website. It says here, we make products without taking shortcuts. They're fairly priced products, exceptionally crafted. Looks like they started in late 2010, and a couple friends, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but they got started, and they decided to move to China and started designing, manufacturing their own products. It says here, sure, there are more than just watches already being mass-produced, but unfortunately, far too many of them were made with the focus on cutting corners and keeping costs as low as possible. Now, that's the goal with any company. I don't care what company you are. You're always looking to maximize profit. That's why companies make stuff. It's not to not turn a profit. It's always about turning a profit. So that's fine. They say that. It says what we envisioned was a vertical supply chain that could deliver unrivaled value as small batch manufacturing process. So a lot of times, guys, with stories like this, that's all fine and great, and but ultimately, what are you getting for your money? That's really what it comes down to. In today's day and age, you don't have the passion a lot of times of somebody selling you something in a store, right? And we've all dealt with salesmen before. Their goal is to sell you the product they're selling. It doesn't necessarily mean that they have to believe in the product, right? So one thing that I always kind of keep an open mind with whenever I discover a new brand or a brand reaches out to me is what am I getting for my money? What's the value? And what does it look like? Because ultimately a watch, no matter whatever reason you want to buy a watch, we want it to look a certain way, right? We want it to look nice. And I think that a watch, I'm sure there are some people out there who strictly use a watch for its purpose, but I think that anybody who says that I bought a watch and it's only the tool watch, just for telling time or diving, I think everybody cares about what something looks like. So I think those are big factors when making a watch purchase, no matter what your watch purchase. There's different people who buy watches for different reasons too. Perception of others. People, like when you buy luxury brands. Luxury brands, they always want to pretend like that's not a factor. I shouldn't say the brands. The people who buy the brands always want to pretend that, oh, well, I bought it because of heritage. I bought it because of high quality. No, most of the time when you buy a luxury brand, those might be perks, those might be sprinkles on the sundae, but you're buying it for the status. Most people buy a Rolex for the status. And not just Rolex, I always pick on Rolex, but any brand. So, again, what are we getting? This story is great, but what are we getting for our money? So, that's what I'm here to talk about today. I encourage you to check out their story if you care, read about their process, and meet the team. Ultimately, these are all things on a web page. You or I have no proof that this is how they if they have anything on here about manufacturing, we have no proof of that. We're not at the factory. We don't see what's going on. What I can tell you is that most affordable watches are made in China. I don't know about Vincero. These are questions I want you guys to drop a comment, and we can find out answers together. You can research more about Vincero. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't really think that when you buy a watch that's in this price range, that if you're really after something with a really long brand history, you probably aren't going to buy a designer watch, which is what these are. And I kind of put watches in two tiers: designer and, of course, luxury. And neither of those two words have anything to do with quality. Of course, if you're spending, we're fooled to think that if you're spending $10,000 on a luxury item like a Rolex, that there isn't a little more care in the process in manufacturing the watch, right? There should be a level of quality that's better for that price. But ultimately, a lot of people will lead you to believe that there's night and day difference. You pick up a Rolex or a luxury high-end brand, you pick up an inexpensive watch, an affordable watch, that you're going to really see this life-changing difference. And I can tell you, my own personal experience, I don't see it. And lots of people who have commented, thousands of comments, read what people say on these videos I make. They'll tell you the same thing, that I just don't see what the hype is all about. What this difference is not like they want you to believe. So now that I've got that out of the way in about 9 minutes, let's talk about the watches they sent me. So as far as presentation, I do like the box, and you guys know I never really get too involved in what a company ships their watch in. For me, it could be a brown bag, because most of the time, these watches, the most important thing is not putting this on my dresser or displaying it. you may want your watches out. I always keep every watch I have under lock and key, right? Because they are stealable items. A $100 watch is a stealable item, no matter what. If somebody broke into my place and wanted to take things, I want things that I can easily replace. Some things, yeah, you can go get another Vincero watch right now if it's the same one, but sometimes you can't. And then watches have a story on each watch, and I like to tell that story. People who ask me, what are you wearing? I can tell them when I got it, what were the circumstances, what made me get it. There's a story with each watch. So the box to me is kind of meaningless. However, if you are going to gift this to somebody, and you have to think about when you're buying it, they're presenting it to you, I do like the box. So the box had an outer sleeve I took off. You have the Vincero logo. I do like the logo. I do like the branding. Pretty cool. It slides off. It's kind of like a rounded edge. The top slides off. Again, it's sort of like a matte finish faux leather cardboard. Really simple. You just basically have the Vincero card, and you have a kind of a felt lining, and you just have a pillow. That's it. Nothing really to write home about. It's something that most of you are probably going to throw away, but it is nice presentation. I've seen other watch boxes that are, I don't know, they're all pretty nice. I've seen some better, some worse. Ultimately, to me, it doesn't matter. I'd rather a company skimp on the box and pass the savings along on the product, right? I don't want to pay for the box because it doesn't mean anything to me. So the watch I want to share with you guys today is I picked out watches that are kind of my taste, obviously, right? I'm not really a dress watch guy, although they have 12 different models in their lineup. I'm more of a dive watch guy. I like steel. I like metal on my arm, right? Now, you can get these in combinations. You can get them in the bracelet version, or you can get this particular model in a strap version. This is called the Vessel. So again, dive-like, a dive-style watch. I always like the metal, of course. For those of you who are concerned with stuff like this, it is a stamped clasp. A lot of you really, a lot of people out there, I shouldn't say you, I mean, people watch me, we kind of share kind of a like mind and value. A lot of times people are really concerned with the stamp clasp over a milled clasp. Ultimately, when the watch is on your wrist and buckled, you don't see that. So a stamp clasp is just that, stamped. It's not a milled style. It's not as decorative, I'd say, but it's just as functional. This particular watch uses a dual push button deploying clasp, something that I wish Invicta did more. I feel like it's a very easy way to put your watch on. You just press the two tabs. You don't have to press to put it on, but to take it off, you just press those tabs, and you have a fold-over clasp with the Vincero logo. Bracelet on this is, I'm not going to make any comparisons to other brands. I think it's kind of their, when it comes to, I guess, basic watches that aren't over the top, like some of the Aragons and Hublots and Invictas and all these different kind of more, I guess, elaborate brands. This is more basic, clean, I like to call these. They're the kind of watch really anybody can wear, no matter what your style, right? So very basic. You have two crown or function pushers on this. The crown is actually screw down, which this is, I don't want this to be a complaint because it's not, but you do have a function pusher which turns, I shouldn't say, it's a function twister, I should say, which turns the outermost bezel, the inner bezel. So it's a unidirectional bezel that you turn with this this function button, right? And then you have a screw down crown. The thing is, there's really no point in putting a screw down crown, in my opinion, on a watch if you're going to have a non-screw down function pusher, and I don't believe this screws down. It does not. So the whole point of a screw down crown is to prevent water leakage, to increase your depth rating. So that is kind of really just more of a selling feature on this. It's not really a functional feature, but it has it. That's great. Some of you might be concerned, but again, it's pointless because you don't have a screw down bezel adjuster, right? I do think that's cool, though. I do always appreciate the design and how you can turn that inner bezel. And then, of course, again, your crown, your screw down crown, is at the 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock position. A very clean dial. Lume on this, I'd say, is subpar when you compare it to like brands like Aquadive and Doxa, Rolex, stuff like that. Even Invicta, it's comparable to what you're going to get out of like an Invicta. It's not great. It's not bad. There's better. There's worse. But it works. You do have a day of the month indicator, but no magnifying glass. Again, these are not, I don't have eye problems, so to me it's very easy for me to see that. Pretty clean dial. And it is made of 316L stainless steel. It does have a 5-year warranty, free shipping worldwide, climate neutral certified. I'm not sure what that means. And again, as far as color combinations, you can get it in this one here is the bracelet version with the blue face. You can get it in a black face. You can get it in a sort of a bronze. I believe it's, I don't know if that watch is actually made of bronze, but it's a bronze color. A black plated blue face. What do you got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 variations. Price on this is dependent upon the band you get, I think. Let me just double check that. Yeah. So your bracelet versions are going to be your more expensive ones. Let's stick to what we're reviewing today. Is the bracelet version $225. They do offer financing if you want to make 4 installments. You do have 44 reviews on their website with a 5-star rating. I always like to see reviews done by other people, right? Not directly on the website, because you know we don't. They have complete control over that. That's nothing with just Vincero. That's with all brands. But overall, I like the design. You kind of have this stepped, kind of edged case, right? You have a kind of a combination of a little bit of mirror polishing around the edge of the outer case. We won't really call it a, I guess it is a bezel, but it's, you know, it's not your rotating bezel, right? Mirror polishing on the sides, brush finish on the band, the links, everything else for the most part, little mirror polishing here and there. And overall, it's a clean looking watch. As far as the, let's see what other specs we have. Just says here, inspired by traditional dive watches, every aspect of the vessel is meant to be dependable in the water to get you noticed on land. So go ahead, take the plunge. The vessel can handle what you throw at. Case diameter is 44 millimeters. Case thickness is 12 millimeters. And it is powered by a Citizen Miota quartz movement, 20 ATMs of water resistance. And it says here the glass or the crystal is actually sapphire crystal, in parentheses, scratch resistant, I guess if you didn't know. So sapphire crystal naturally is going to be your most scratch resistant crystal. For me personally, it's not a selling feature for me because I've never scratched any watch, no matter what it was made of. So they're all pretty durable, to be honest with you guys. As far as, you know, I think Vincero does get a little bit of a bad rap, you know, because it is one of these companies that are, you know, like Movement and like Fleetful already. And I can tell you that all these brands across the board are all nice quality. For somebody to pick this up and say that it's an inferior watch or a terrible watch is ridiculous. It's made of nice quality materials. It's an inexpensive movement, but it's a very common movement found in many quartz watches. Now, I'm more of an automatic watch guy, so I prefer an automatic movement, even if it's an inexpensive, cheaper Chinese automatic movement, which not to say that Chinese automatic movement's bad by any means. I have many different movements. At the end of the day, you know, if you have a lot of watches in your collection, you're going to have to reset them. I keep my watches in the open crown position in my safe. It helps to conserve the battery life, and some folks will say you shouldn't do that, but I have never had a problem doing that. Sure, of course, if you're going to leave the crown open and you're going to go, you know, play in the sand, or you're going to go play in dirt or go swimming with it, that's not a good idea. But sitting there in a safe, nothing's going to happen to it. There are seals inside most watches prevent dust from getting in there anyway. So overall, I think it's a nice looking watch. It's clean, it's simple, it's basic, without having to copy other brands like, you know, Rolex or any of the other brands out there. We see a lot of homage watches out there. I'm glad that Vincero just is doing their own thing. I don't even think Vincero makes a homage to a Submariner. So it's kind of nice that they didn't kind of follow the crowd in that. And I feel like that's something that, although I have many, although I'm wearing a Pagani design right now, I like the designs. I like the styles. I have nothing against any of those watches. I just, I think it's nice they did their own thing. So it's a pretty cool watch. I like, you know, again, that it has we'll just say double crown, but it's, you know, one crown, one function pusher. I like the fact that you have the branding on both of those items. You know, some people are going to get over the top, you know, with, you know, Invicto. It's got Invicto on the side and branding. I like the name. I think it's a pretty cool name compared to some of the other Chinese companies I've seen out there. Without mentioning names, some of the names are a little, you know, a little like, that's a bad pick. But Vincero, it's not bad. As far as the back of the watch, the case back is a screw, from what I can tell, a screw-down case back. And it says here, Vini Vidi Vici. And it says here, live your legacy. I forget what that means, but reminds me of a slot machine we used to play back in the day. You get the bonus. Vini, Vini, Vici. Anyway, we don't need that temptation now, do we? But like I said, guys, overall, it's a nice watch. What I do like about this as well is that the band is easy to remove. You have twin, the pin that holds the band on. You have twin, I guess, I don't know what you call these, but they're they're twin pushers on there. So a lot of times you have to use a fork tool to get the band off. What's nice about this is it's very easy to take the band off with those particular push pins. So I like that. For some people, having having the name recognition of Citizen Miota Quartz movement and having the scratch-resistant sapphire crystal is going to be important. For me, it's not. What's important to me is the fact that it's nicely made, and what does it look like? When I feel this and shake this, this feels like any Invicta Pro Diver, any Aragon, any Pagani, Bursigar, any of the brands that you're going to see in that $100 to $300 price range. Price on this is $225. Now let's talk about price. So a lot of guys will kind of harp on this and kind of down, I don't know if they've ever mentioned this, but a lot of times these companies will state that they're giving luxury watches for affordable prices. Luxury watches, I don't think that, and I'm not saying Vincero does that, but it's something they shouldn't do or say, because this is not a luxury watch. This is a nice, affordable watch that's stylish and it's functional, right? Is it going to last you your entire life? Probably. I have watches over 30 years old that still work that are affordable watches. So to make the statement that, oh, it'll last you a couple years to throw away watch, I don't believe there are throwaway watches. There's either good luck or bad luck. You can have problems with watches that cost $10,000, $100,000, just like you can with a watch that costs $225. The one thing I do want to mention, though, if I'm being honest, is that when I look at a watch at this price point, it really has to have something for me to want to spend over $200 on it. In a quartz watch at this price point, I think is just slightly a little overpriced, but not compared to many of the other brands out there. It's not outrageous. It's not an amazing value. When you look at watches like the Pagani that are giving you the same material, same build, and throwing in a Seiko NH35, if you are a fan of, most people like an automatic watch. So I think that something like this would be a much better value if they did just run a Seiko NH35. It's an affordable movement. I don't think it would really cut into their profit all that much, and I just think it would be a much more attractive value, and it would appease a little bit more to the guys out there who, more of the guys who kind of lean towards being traditional, right? Again, always buy what you like, always buy what makes you happy. It's a nice looking watch. It's a nice quality watch. Anybody tells you differently is just lying. I mean, flat out. If you like a Pro Diver, you'll like a Vincero. The quality's nice. They're all solid links. I know it's a concern to some people. Doesn't really bother me either way, but I do like the feel of a little more weight. I think it's nice. I'm not going to get involved in, some guys will shake it and be like, oh, it sounds this or sounds that. They'll make excuses for anything that they want to make excuses for. If they're trying to make the watch seem inexpensive, they'll be like, oh, it sounds tinny, but yet they'll do it to a Rolex, be like, sounds solid. So you take everything what people say with a grain of salt, including myself. Mainly make up your mind on stuff based on evidence and doing the research. And ultimately, anybody who picks this watch up who is not a watch snob and feels it, feels the quality, wears it, its looks, that's always going to be subjective, but it's a nice quality watch comparable to, again, any Aragon, any Pro Diver out there. You're getting the same quality. It's just the value, you're paying a little more for a quartz. But again, if we look at what most companies charge, there's companies who are an exceptional value and then companies who charge more. That's really ultimately when you buy a watch, know that there's markup in all watches. And so ultimately, buy a watch that really speaks to you. If Vincero speaks to you, great. If it doesn't, then don't buy it. But I like it. I'm really happy the company sent me these watches. And I've been wanting to add some Vinceros to my collection for a while now. And now I have them, and I hope to collaborate with them again in the future. A lot of their watches aren't really my style because I'm not really a dress watch kind of guy. But they do have a lot of other watches. There's a few on there that are kind of unique, which I kind of lean towards. But I wanted to get something a little more basic, a little more dive-ish. They have a few on here that are... they have marble in them, and they do have some automatics. However, if I'm being totally honest, their automatic price point is very steep in my opinion. When you start looking at an automatic watch, and we're looking at, and they may disagree with that, and that's okay. I'm not telling people not to buy it. What I am saying is that when you're looking at, let's see, where's their automatic? $450 for, this is their marble automatic, and I almost requested that, but I like the stainless, they have one that's stainless that is sold out. But overall, pretty cool. But when you look at that $450 price range, there are a lot of choices in that price range. And a lot of doors open up for you, and not necessarily get something that's better, but just something that's going to be maybe a better value. The movement, at least in their automatics, are Miyota 90S5s. Miyota, they're, whether you go with a Miyota, you go with a Seagull, you go with an ETA, you go with a Valjoux, there's all different price points. At the end of the day, they all tell time, some more accurate than others. But ultimately, if you want the most accurate time, you don't buy an automatic, you buy a quartz. So that's it, guys. That's my 2 cents on Vincero. Nice company, nice brand. Thank you for sending me the watches, guys. I look forward to working with you guys again. I'm sure you're going to come out with more watches that I like. As always, no matter what, it never hurts to have an extra watch in your collection. And guys, when I make draw my opinions on with comparing things, I have about 160 watches in my collection, a lot of different brands. So I have a good idea what you get for your money, and I know that this is a decent value. So not on the top, not the best value, but it's a nice watch. Know that if you buy one, you're not totally getting ripped off, and if you buy one, you're getting a watch that's going to last you a long time. It's a nice quality. I don't think you can go wrong. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Vincero, thank you. If you like the content, subscribe to the channel. Before we close out, let's see what it looks like on the wrist. So I'm about 5'7". I weigh about 176 pounds. I have a 7-inch wrist. So this is what a watch of this size looks like on a guy my size. So again, not huge, but not small. Nice in between. If you're a guy who's used to wearing smaller 41s, 38s, stuff like that, and you want to step up a little, it's a nice little compromise. I think it's a good looking watch, and it'll definitely get use, like all my watches. Very cool. I like that they did their own thing. I really don't have anything negative to say about it. If you're, like I said, guys, if you're a Pagani Design fan, you're an Invicta fan, Aragon fan, I'm speaking to you. If you start looking at brands such as your designer brands, like like your Tommy Hilfiger, and go into a Macy's and look around, see what watch they have, you're getting a much, in my opinion, a much nicer watch than what some of those $150 watches are going to cost you in those stores, stuff like that. So again, you're always pretty safe if you go to stainless steel version. I mean, I think that's going to be the most bang for your buck, in my opinion. So check it out, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the video. Tell me your honest opinions on this stuff. Again, for you haters out there, if you're going to cut the watch down, drop a comment, but I'll either decide to approve it or not based on what you say. I'm not going to misinformation, because ultimately this is a nice quality watch, and it'll get use. I like it. It's not a lot of people are making junk. These are nice watches, and I think you'll be happy with their products. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Have a great evening, and take care.